All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Forward Thinking Founders, where we talk to founders about their companies, their visions for the future, and how the two collide. Today, I'm very excited to be talking to Preeti Suri, who's the founder of AdventureTripr. Welcome to the show. How's it going?
Thanks, Matt. It's going great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm still reeling in the excitement of the 12-day long scouting trip that I'm just back from across four states, including California, Nevada, Oregon, and back in Washington. So yes, I'm still on that high.
Did you
No,
do, wait, did you by chance do the Pacific Crest Trail or like a segment of the Pacific Crest Trail?
I have done it before, but this time it was
Whoa,
in Portland.
that's
I have done
awesome.
it.
That's like, I feel like we should just not talk about your company and just talk about your experience doing the beat. No, I'm just totally joking. I'm a huge fan of hiking in the outdoors and that stuff. And one day I'd like to do the PCT, but that's a conversation for another time. Today we're talking about your company, AdventureTripr. And it's probably going to tie in, actually, I'm guessing. So walk me through, for people that haven't heard of AdventureTripr, what are you working on? What is AdventureTripr?
Yeah, sure. So AdventureTripr is a mission-driven company, and we are on a mission to making the outdoor adventures accessible to everyone by eliminating, barriers that people might face, and these barriers could be economic, social, or even cultural. For people who didn't grow up in a culture of outdoors. So that's what we do, and we do it. We try to make it really easy and convenient for everyone to get outside. And to take these adventures. And we do that via hosting outdoor experiences on our website, which are high quality yet affordable experiences that have been planned end to end by destination and domain experts. So all you have to do is basically show up without having to navigate through the information overload on the internet, or having to do all that research. And yeah, you can just show up and have your experience planned for you around unique accommodations. We also do a lot of programming focused around educating people on how to get started with getting outside and how to recreate safely and mindfully.
So I'm very excited about this. As I alluded to before you went into it, like, I love the outdoors. I've hiked many mountains in Colorado, and I just love hiking. So this is great. So I'm curious, as like a potential user, potential customer, like, what does it look like if someone, lands on your site? They're like, great, I want to use this. I want to go on a planned trip. Can you kind of walk me through the user experience from listening to this podcast all the way to being out on the mountain or out on a trail?
For sure, yeah, and we make it very, very, very easy for you. So you can just, pack your backpack right after this and head out on a trip. So what you'll do is you'll go to our website. You'll see teasers for trips on our website, and which will give you a good sense of what a location is or what a destination is like. And these are mostly weekend getaways. So you will get a good flavor for that on our website. And once you book it based on that teaser, you get a very short quiz, which helps us understand what your, capabilities or skill level is, what intensity of the trip you're looking for, what your interests are. So based on that quiz, we personalize the experience for you. And yeah, once you've booked it and it's all personalized for you, you get the entire detailed itinerary, including the activities, the trail maps, the permits, what permits you need, what gear you're going to need based on what weather it's going to be like, what are your food options. So everything, basically, you can access all of it on our app, and just have to show up. You get all the details of your accommodation as well. So yeah, that's how easy it is for you to just take a look, see where you want to go. You have all the pictures, you book it, and you get a personalized itinerary on an app, which you can access all the time during your trip and do it at your own pace.
So walk me through a little bit about why you decided to start this. What's the origin story for AdventureTripr?
Yeah, for sure. So I got hooked to outdoors for my own personal recovery. And I started hiking in the summer of 2017 for my postpartum recovery, physical and mental. And I realized how transformational the outdoors can be for you. But at the same time, I became acutely aware of the barriers people face. So for instance, I started hiking with a bunch of Indian moms. We didn't grow up in a culture of outdoors. We didn't know where to start, what gear to use, how to keep our kids safe when we were in the wilderness, when there's a downpour, how to navigate. so we face those cultural barriers or social barriers, and then I wanted to do more. So I started hiking with a lot of the meetup groups here in Seattle, and there were nurses, stay-home moms, teachers who were strong hikers and who wanted to explore the world. They wanted to go trek in Nepal, Patagonia, Iceland, but they couldn't afford the trips which showed up in their search results, whether it's Backroads or REI Adventures, and they faced economic barriers. Whereas I knew that the guides that these companies use do provide those trips for a fraction of that cost. So the Everest Base Camp trek with REI Adventures is $4,500, but the guides in Nepal do it for $1,500. So I wanted to, make those experiences affordable and accessible to everybody. And that's how I embarked on this mission of making the outdoors accessible to everyone by bringing down those barriers. And because I personally experienced how transformational it can be for you.
And is this something that, is it available everywhere, or is it just specific states or locations? Like if someone's listening, they want to like try it out. I guess where can people try it, and how do you think about kind of like locations and where to pick and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. And it's been an evolution. We perfectly timed the launch of our platform right before COVID. We beta launched our site with international trips. So we started with the international trips across 5 different destinations globally, including countries like Peru and Chile and Costa Rica and Nepal. So we had a few countries, but then, and we launched this in February of 2020. So then we pivoted to roll out local weekend experiences. We're based out of Seattle, and we started this experiment of local weekend experiences last summer with the state of Washington and Oregon. And that's where we were running trips during COVID, and people could still, after the lockdown, of course, still stay local while take these, experiences with just their families or COVID pods. So those were the locations we were running these trips in. But we have, even as we speak, we're rolling out California. We've now got 2 trips. We will, by the end of this week, have 6 trips in California as well. And we're rolling out Nevada too. By the end of this year, we plan to be in at least 12 to 15 states across the US, but right now we're in all the Western states. And coming up next soon is going to be Idaho, Arizona, Utah.
Well, I don't necessarily know like the inner workings of how it works, like getting something up and running, but if you need some insider knowledge in Arizona, I've hiked I grew up here. I've never left. I know every hike here like the back of my hand. So definitely let me know.
I'm going to take you up on that offer, because we work with local destination experts to create our itineraries and to also, help us keep them updated. So yeah, absolutely. I'm going to hit you up on that.
Ooh, that's actually, definitely hit me up on that. That could be a fun, that could be fun. And also like, there's some downsides of living in the same place for 27 years, but the upside is that like, you know everything about it. Right. So it's all good. So
you take our trip to the other states, explore the other places with us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, this is cool. I'm like, this is totally like my profile picture all over the internet is me on a 14er with a hoodie in Colorado. So it's just like, or with not a hoodie, with a beanie in Colorado. So I'm like the typical outdoorsy dude. So this is cool. So walk me through like the how you see the future here. If you were to zoom out 5, 10, 15 years, what's the big picture here, and what direction are you rowing in with the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to change the way people travel, and we started doing this even before COVID. We want people to shift away from mass travel of being in crowded cities, and to take more outdoor experience and adventures, whether it is domestically or internationally. And that's how we want people to travel, not only because it's good for them, but adventure travel is a far more sustainable way to travel, right? Because like I said, it's not just good for you, but it also supports the environment. People who participate in outdoor recreation have a much better appreciation for the environment, without which you wouldn't have it. So they are more motivated to preserve the environment. Besides, if 77% of the revenue generated from mass travel goes to large airlines and large hotels, 66% of the income generated from adventure travel stays in the local economy. So it's a far more sustainable way to travel. And that's a shift we had started working on even even before COVID. I think COVID is helping that shift in that trend. In terms of personally and for AdventureTripr as a company, our strategy is to focus on rolling out these experiences across the US over the next year, year and a half, before we shift our focus back to international adventure travel as well. We realize there's a huge gap and need for these kind of domestic experiences within the US, which are lacking at the moment. So that's sort of where our sort of vision is, and our immediate plans are, and the long-term plans are to go after international adventure travel.
In order to make that happen, you'll need some help, right? It takes a village to make a startup get off the ground and scale. So my question for you is, how can the forward-thinking founders community help? Are you hiring? Are you raising capital? Looking for customers? Guides, leads? How can we assist?
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you so much for asking that. I think we're fortunate enough to have a pretty large network. We have a database of 700 plus adventure guides across the world. So we're pretty sorted there. And we just hired our first 2 hires, our marketing and trip coordination teammates. I'm super excited to have them on board and have a team now. But we are still looking for, and we have a brilliant, first engineer, our head of our engineering, but we're still looking for somebody, at least in an advisory capacity, to advise us on the either the marketing side, and also on the marketing side, and also on the product side with some UX UI sort of experience, and on the marketing side more to bring in the social media, PR, SEO, SEM kind of digital marketing experience, but more at an advisory level. So that's sort of what we're looking for. Yeah, that would be my ask off of the amazing community that you have going on here.
Cool. And then if someone is interested in kind of anything you just mentioned and they want to reach out or learn more about what you're working on, how can they find you online? Do you have a website? Do you have social media handles? Do you have an email? How can they get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find us everywhere. Our website is adventuretripr.com. TRIPR. And we have an app, but currently our app is only for people who book our trips to get access to our itineraries that they have booked with us. But you can also find us we're on Instagram as AdventureTripr. We are on Facebook. We have a community on Facebook as well. The educational sessions that we do are on YouTube, all of them under the handle AdventureTripr. And you can personally connect with me at Preeti, Preeti, at AdventureTripr.com. And my personal handles are Suri Suri.Preeti. I'm most active on Instagram, but I'm on Facebook as well.
Cool. Well, this is super cool. I'm definitely going to use it. Maybe I'll guide some stuff. Who knows? And then, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, and best of luck building this out. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure chatting with you this morning, Matt.